from the station with the most local news. This is News 4 at 4.
Good afternoon, everyone. First at 4, we want to get right to breaking news out of South Buffalo. Police say someone died in an accident involving a construction crane. This is a live look at the scene on Catherine Street right now. Police tell us the accident happened here in the 200 block this afternoon. Now, police haven't released any more information on exactly how this happened or who the victim is. News 4's Nick Quattrini is gathering details right now. We'll have a live report for you coming up in the next half hour of News 4 at 4. Again, we're following breaking news out of South Buffalo this afternoon. A deadly crane accident happened here on Catherine Street. Stay with News 4 on air and online for any new information.
It was a chaotic scenario. People were running, moving away, trying to get away, trying to be safe, because they didn't know exactly what happened.
It actually sounded like a bomb went off. Like, it was really loud. The train just flew in, it never stopped. And then, yeah, like, we went out, we helped, like, we kind of tried to help out, but there were there was electric and live wires and stuff, so we really couldn't do too much.
Turning now to another developing story out of New Jersey this afternoon. At least one person died when a PATH train crashed into the Hoboken station. More than 100 people were also hurt. This is what it looked like inside the station just moments after the crash. In your top 4 at 4, New York and New Jersey officials are piecing together what happened and what caused this crash. The Hoboken train station is just 5 miles away from New York City, and the crash happened at the worst time during morning rush hour. Scott McLean has the story this afternoon.
The devastating pictures show the aftermath of a massive crash at a busy rush hour train station in Hoboken, New Jersey, just outside of New York City. The passenger train slammed into the station, killing one person who was standing at the platform. The crash happened around 8:45 Eastern Time this morning. Part of the roof of the terminal looks to have collapsed. The NTSB is sending teams to the scene and will look at all possible factors.
Operations, mechanics, track, signals, human performance, and survival factors.
The NTSB says it will look at similarities between this crash and one that happened at the same station in May 2011.
Our TDA specialists are already working closely with local officials in order to assist them in their efforts to assist everyone who is affected by this accident.
A New Jersey freight engineer who witnessed the crash described what he saw.
30 seconds after it happened, I looked to the right. I just saw the train in the building. I'm like, whoa, that train had to come in about 30 miles an hour. Maybe a little more.
This survivor says he was standing in the front car when it crashed.
It was a loud bang, yeah, it just seemed like it didn't stop, and then the lights went out, and then the roof just came down on it.
New Jersey Governor Chris Christie offered his condolences and promised quick action.
We pray for the family of the one fatality that we have confirmed. We're going to work together to make sure that the investigation is seamless and coordinated, that we come to a conclusion as quickly as possible.
In Hoboken, New Jersey, I'm Scott McLean.
Another deadly crash involving a pedestrian in Niagara Falls Boulevard we want to let you know about. A 67-year-old man was hit and killed near Willow Ridge Drive in the town of Tonawanda. Now, just last month, another man was hit and killed on the boulevard in Amherst. Police say today the victim was running from a 7-Eleven across the road against traffic signals to catch a bus.
They got to watch, they got to wait for the light to change, and people, they don't wait for the light, and they come across, and next thing you know, bango.
Authorities say the driver is cooperating and was not impaired at the time of the crash. Now, the investigation continues, but no charges are pending. Meanwhile, neighbors in Niagara Falls have a lot of questions today after an officer shot a man during a drug raid. We're learning more about what happened, including the names of those involved. Now, the shooting happened around 8:15 on 20th Street. This is the suspect, 33-year-old Stacy Lewis. Now, he was arraigned at ECMC today. News 4's Katie Alexander has the latest for us.
Police say this is still a very active investigation, and they're still working to clarify what was happening at the moment. Officer Thomas Rogers fired one shot, hitting 33-year-old Stacy Lewis in the stomach.
The detectives are interviewing the suspect up at ECMC, and again, we'll leave no stone unturned.
Police say members of the emergency response team and the Niagara County Drug Task Force had a signed search warrant in hand as they were approaching Lewis's house on 20th Street last night. That's where they say they saw him through a big picture window moving quickly with an assault rifle in his hands. This type of gun is illegal in this state, and as a convicted felon, Stacy Lewis isn't allowed to have any gun at all. He's now facing weapons and drug charges, since police say they found heroin, cocaine, pills, and the gun in his house after he was shot.
If the suspect would have complied with the officer's request, we probably could have avoided this situation. Unfortunately, this is sometimes what we deal with in this type of work. We deal with combative subjects.
Police say they're trying to be as transparent as possible as their investigation continues, but people in Niagara Falls are demanding more answers.
Tell us the truth. What really happened?
It's like a tragedy, kind of, because someone's sitting in a hospital because a police officer shot them. Maybe they had probable cause. Usually, sometimes, they don't. Sometimes they overuse their power.
With recent police-involved shootings across the country in the spotlight, people here say there is a temptation to rush to judgment before they have all the facts.
Everybody got their own type of opinion. Absolutely. Everybody got something to say about it.
They see something happen on the news, and the next thing you know, it's, I like to wait and see. See what happens the next couple of days. I just hope everybody's all right, especially the police officer. They're doing a fine job here.
We're told the officer involved in the shooting is a military veteran and an 8-year veteran of the Niagara Falls Police Force. He is on administrative leave right now, pending the results of this investigation. Reporting in Niagara Falls, Katie Alexander, News 4.
Okay, Katie, thank you. All new at 4, some students in Newfane got their hands dirty to learn about water quality issues. News 4's Angela Cristoforos joins us now with more on exactly what they did. She's in the newsroom for us today. Hey, Angela.
Hey, Marissa. This morning didn't stop dozens of students from learning more about the 18-mile Creek watershed. Students from Niagara Orleans Career and Technical Center, Lockport High School, and Newfane Senior High School got out on the water today thanks to Earth Force's GM Green program. What you see there is the 18-mile creek. This part is in Newfane. Students tested the water quality and learned about the physical and chemical characteristics of the stream. Students also searched for macroinvertebrae.
All of our actions, anything we do within a watershed could affect the watershed. Anything that enters the ground could eventually make its way into the stream. And it's just important to be aware of the health of a stream and protect our watersheds.
After water quality tests, students used their findings to create solutions for water quality issues in other communities. Live in the newsroom, Angela Cristoforos, News 4 at 4.
Still so pretty there despite the rain. Thanks, Angela. Turning now to the race for the White House. There are only 40 days until the presidential election. Hillary Clinton campaigns in Iowa today on the first day of early voting there. President Obama pushed early voting in his campaigns, trying to rally supporters in battleground states before November. Now, the Democratic nominee also teamed up with former challenger Bernie Sanders to reach out to younger voters. Young people typically lean Democratic, but only 17% of voters under 30 say they're very enthusiastic about voting this year. Meanwhile, Republican candidate Donald Trump is hitting back against Clinton after his debate performance was criticized. He's in New Hampshire campaigning today after a trip to Wisconsin's Republican heartland with a mission to shore up his base. Now, New Hampshire is seen as a key swing state in this year's election. Trump is now coining the phrase "follow the money," portraying Clinton as corrupt. A lot to get to on News 4 at 4. Health experts say getting your flu shot, of course, keeps you healthy, and your entire community, too. You might be surprised to hear what they say about the ripple effect of this. And changes are coming to the safety codes here in Western New York, how it's changing how our homes look, and what it'll cost you.
Should I go? Can't stop myself, out of control. Head over heels, no time to think. Looks like the whole world's out of sync.
So you like it?
I do.
Now is the moment to get the Honda CR-V you love, the best-selling SUV in America, at the Honda Summer Clearance Event, going on now.
When it's time to give your home or business a fresh look, think Darling. Darling Paint and Restorations. Interior or exterior, commercial, residential, industrial, and churches. If it looks good, it's Darling. Call today for a free estimate, 656-8802, or visit us at darlingpaint.com.
At Window World, we not only stand behind our windows, we can stand on them. Window World, a quality window at a fair price. Call 656-0100. Window World, simply the best for less.
I'm running for state senate to bring something to Albany that's going to put fear in the heart of every career politician. It's just 2 little words, but it's going to scare every state legislator who's been living off your hard-earned money for far too long. It's going to help end the corruption at Albany and those 6-figure pensions. It's amazing just how powerful 2 little words can be.
Chris Jacobs, using the power of term limits to reform Albany.
Hey, Buffalo, it's Billy Fasola right here at the complex in Grand Island, and I got news for you. You know, football's in the air, everybody's pumped up, and we're pumped up here to move automobiles out. What am I talking about? A $299 lease on the beautiful RAV4, the beautiful Hyundai Santa Fe, and of course the Silverado. You see them all over the road. Now's the time, folks. Winners are just right around the corner. Don't miss the opportunity. That's $299.
Welcome back, everyone. For your health this afternoon, one of the U.S.'s top medical officials wants to spread the importance of getting your flu shot. CDC Director Dr. Thomas Frieden invited some news cameras to see him roll up his sleeves and get his vaccine today in Washington. Now, he says if just 5% more people got their flu shot, 800,000 fewer people would get sick. Now, that means 10,000 fewer hospitalizations.
Get it by the end of October, and don't delay. There's some people who say, well, if I get it later, closer to flu, might that be more protective? The problem is that a vaccination deferred is often a vaccination forgotten. And we want to ensure that as many people as possible get the flu vaccine.
He also says the flu is unpredictable and officials don't know what strain will spread this year. But the safest thing you can do to protect the family is get everyone vaccinated. Some good advice, especially this time of year. Turning now to your 4-1 forecast, Andrew Baglini in studio this afternoon. A bit of a messy day out there,
I think today is beautiful for anyone that could be inside with a cup of tea and a blanket, to be honest. Otherwise, if you're a working person and you have to be outside, oh, what an ugly day. But we need it. This is a good weather pattern for the drought situation that we've been talking about extensively all summer long. And what we've been saying is, while these storms that we saw, these summer storms were, not a bad thing in terms of rainfall, it's really not the type of rain we do need. What we need is an extended period of showers, and that's what we are in, and we're going to be in it for the next few days, right through the weekend. Quick look at the Skyway, just a cloudy day. Haven't seen too many bright spots out there. At times, the roads have been wet. At times, we've been needing those umbrellas. Radar quieting down right now. We still have the cloud cover in place. A few showers in and just east of Buffalo, making their way up toward the Niagara frontier. But we do have some extended dry time for the next couple of hours. All we're going to be looking for are just a few spotty showers as we head into the evening and nighttime, moving in from the south. But the big picture sort of tells the story of what's going on. We have this big disturbance in the upper levels of the atmosphere, and that's parked just to the west of us. Not really going to be moving for the next few days, and at times is bringing us a few waves of Atlantic moisture. Notice a little break in the moisture here, so we will have extended dry time before the next wave arrives, and we'll have more rain in store for tomorrow, and really for the next few days we'll be in and out of those showers. Temperatures, because of the cloud cover, because of the rain, we've been chilly at times in the upper 50s across the Niagara frontier, some mid 50s and a few 60s around there down in southern Erie and the southern tier counties. Winds have been noticeable out of the east for the most part, around 15 to even 20 miles per hour. Some of those wind gusts, especially up on Lake Ontario, have been felt. Well, temperatures overnight generally will be staying right around that range in the mid 50s. So sort of where we're at right now. Don't expect it to go too much lower. Tomorrow, sort of a similar story. We'll have the cloud cover in place. Temperatures expected to manage back in the mid 60s and some low 60s down in the southern tier. Now let's get right to the computer forecast model, because as I mentioned, we're stuck in this pattern for quite some time. It's not going to be a constant, persistent rain. We'll see some dry time, just clouds in place the rest of tonight, and a few very spotty showers, and should be mainly on the light side. Tomorrow morning, expect to wake up to a little bit of rain on the radar, and we'll be tracking that for you on Wake Up tomorrow as you head out the door. But you're going to want to keep the umbrellas nearby. We were saying that yesterday. That's going to hold true right through the weekend. Even though we won't be needing them the whole time, you'll be glad you have it because of the on and off nature of these showers. Friday evening, we expect a little bit more dry time. Saturday, waking up again cloudy with scattered showers in place. For the most part, we should keep it just rain shower activity and maybe an isolated thunderstorm, but for the most part, just going to be some rain showers. Sunday will be the day of some changes. Even though we still have rain in place, the system that we were talking about is going to slowly slowly push off to the east. So Sunday into Monday will be that transitional period, but we're still expecting rain in the forecast. So scattered showers early this evening will become pretty spotty later on tonight. Temperatures pretty much holding into the mid-50s. Rather cloudy with on and off showers tomorrow. It's going to remain breezy and cool in the low to mid-60s. This weekend, more clouds and showers for Saturday and Sunday. I told you this is an extended weather pattern, but coming up in the next half hour of News 4 at 4, I'll show you that 7-day there is light at the end of the tunnel to talk about. Marissa.
For your money this afternoon, a new report from Bankrate.com says Americans are changing the way they think about retirement. 70% of the people who answered the survey say they plan to work as long as possible. 38% of those people say they want to stay at their job because they like it. 35% say they just need the money. 27% say both of those reasons apply to them. Now, financial experts say a lot of Americans aren't saving enough or starting early when it comes to a retirement plan.
Statistically, about half the people in the United States have under $10,000 saved for retirement. People find themselves in that 45-55 range, and they really haven't gotten a plan of any kind.
Now, experts suggest checking your employer's retirement plan or seeing a financial professional for help about saving options. Well, state officials are rolling out new building and fire codes, and it could cost you. The safety measures take effect on Monday. News 4's Al Vauders breaks down what home and business owners need to know.
There's nothing subtle about the state's new building and fire prevention code. It's changing how our homes look and raising the cost.
We hear numbers from $7,000 to $12,000 for compliance to this code versus the old code.
Todd Blackley is a building consultant who schools builders, contractors, and code enforcement officers on the changes. Reams of regulations home builders will have to comply with when the new code takes effect.
No question about it. There's a lot to digest. There's a lot of thousands of pages of code to go through.
Bill Tyne, president of the New York State Builders Association, says the most obvious change: every new home with a basement is required to have what's called an egress window or door with drainage into the sump pump.
So that someone could get out of the basement if in fact something went wrong and something happened, a fire started. They have something that's pretty big, 16 square feet, looks like this one is, to get out of the house if they needed to.
The same goes if you're planning to add living space to the basement of an existing home, as Liz Noe learned when she added a bedroom to her downstairs and found there's an upside.
It was a good choice, and not only for the safety factor, it also ups the value of my home because now my house is a 4-bedroom home instead of a 3-bedroom home.
Even if it's a playroom, an exercising room, and some towns will even say even if there is a bathroom in the basement, okay? So any way that you are possibly living in a basement, you're gonna need a way out.
The new rules cover fire prevention and fire safety as they apply to new builds and installing solar arrays. With minimum spacing between the solar panels now written into the law, homeowners now might have to plan on smaller roof arrangements. HVAC contractors now have to install metal ductwork for their return vents rather than just enclosing the space between floor joists, and it has to be airtight.
Everything now has to be that same nice, shiny, metal-looking pipe that we can seal up pretty easily because they have to be tested now, where they didn't before.
Bill Tyne says the cost impact of the new regulations depends on what a homeowner's starting point is. If the house was going to be large and energy efficient, not as much as a cost-conscious consumer trying to keep it simple.
As a percentage basis, that's true. The smaller the house, the greater the impact is on a percentage basis.
So what is a prospective homeowner to do in light of all the new regulations that are about to complicate building or improving a home? Tyne says hire a contractor who's qualified, knows the new rules and regulations, and has a solid track record. And he suggests starting with the Builders Association.
When we build a house for someone, we create a set of drawings, and then not only are those reviewed by our professionals and are stamped by building professionals and design professionals, they are also then reviewed by code enforcement officials for compliance with all the proper codes.
Tyne warns taking shortcuts or hiring a contractor that's not familiar with the new code can be heartbreaking. A family could have a beautiful brand new home costing hundreds of thousands of dollars, but they can't move in.
What the end of it is a certificate of occupancy that enables you to occupy that structure. Without that, you may have a structure standing, but no one's allowed to live in it. So it's really important that it's built properly and is certified as safe.
Al Vauders, News 4.
Al, thank you. If you want to learn more about these new rules, check out this story on our website, WIVB.com. Next on News 4 at 4, it's called Too Good to Go. A new app is fighting food waste, why people are buying it before it hits the trash. Plus, later, a special classroom makes a big difference for students in the Niagara Falls City School District. We'll take you there in our next half hour.
I've been shot 2 times.
Local gang members are sharing their stories about life inside.
The streets don't love me.
Why they felt they had no other options and why others shouldn't make the same mistake. News 4, tonight at 6.
The Keller Chevrolet Tag event is on now, but only until September 30th. How about saving the 16% on Cruze, Malibu, Equinox, Traverse, Trax, and even Silverado? And don't forget 12% on Tahoe Suburban and also 10% on Corvette. And on top of those deals, massive Keller Chevrolet discounts. And there's one other difference, folks. Unlike the other guys, our deals are on everything, not just one stock number. Charlie, what a guy.
Find new roads at Keller Chevrolet, Genesee near Union and Cheektowaga, and online at kellerchevrolet.com.
It's fall. Time to gather the troops, get inspired, and fill some tags so that you can serve up a season they won't forget. Cabela's Ultimate Outfitter Sale. Get 30% off select men's camo layering apparel. Shop in-store or at Cabela's.com.
Pumpkinville is fall family fun. Pick your pumpkins and enjoy Pumpkinville's great attractions and food. Join the Peanuts gang at Pumpkinville, named one of the top 10 pumpkin farms in America. Experience Pumpkinville just minutes from Ellicottville.
It's time to get into the new with Ford. And new gives you confidence when you're changing lanes, need to stay between the lines, or have to stop on a dime. Plus, Fusion and Focus both have the government's highest 5-star safety rating. That's how you become America's best-selling brand.
Now get into a new Fusion for as little as $179 a month. Just $179 a month. Only at your neighborhood Ford store.
Tomorrow on News 4 Wake Up.
What makes food healthy? The reason the FDA wants you.
Welcome back. You might call it a very ugly weather pattern that we're stuck in, but for the plants, beautiful. Couldn't ask for nicer weather here, on and off showers, and that's going to continue right through the end of the week and right through the weekend, to be honest with you. We have this upper level disturbance just to the west of us, and that's really just parked across the Midwest. It's going to continue to spin waves of moisture into western New York, so we're going to stay in this on again, off again pattern of showers for the next several days. We will have extended dry time. In fact, right now we're going to enjoy some of that rain-free time. We have a few showers around the metro area moving off to the north, but for the rest of this evening, just a few spotty showers, not as widespread as what we saw earlier today. Tomorrow morning, here comes that next wave of moisture. So we'll wake up to cloudy skies once again and a few showers making their way through, continuing into the afternoon. More dry time later tomorrow in the afternoon and evening. Another round of rain for Saturday. So sort of rinse, wash, repeat. Is that the phrase? It might be the phrase. But we're going to get washed for sure, and we're going to repeat it here in western New York. So scattered showers early, but that's all we're seeing. Just very spotty and, for the most part, pretty light. Temperatures staying in the mid-50s. Now, coming up in my full forecast, we'll talk about the light at the end of the tunnel. I'll let you know how long this weather pattern persists, but I do have some nice weather on the way for you. I'll tell you about it in a few minutes, Marissa.
I like good news. Thank you, Andrew. All new at 4. A controversial ruling in Montreal is making a lot of dog owners angry. Now, they're defending pit bulls, a breed the mayor there is calling dangerous. The city is now proposing a new law banning people from adopting the breed and is also enforcing a series of rules to those who already own them. Now, this includes keeping dogs muzzled and on a short leash in public, and a criminal background check for owners, too. Punishment for breaking the rules: owners could be ordered to euthanize the dog.
You know, when you have 38% of all the bites are coming from a pit bull, there is a situation there.
The debate has been raging since June when a woman was mauled to death in her own backyard by a neighbor's dog. Very controversial issue there. We have another half hour of news coming up right here on News 4 at 4. But right now, we want to check in with News 4's Nalina Shapiro in the newsroom. What's going on there, Nalina?
Hi, Marissa. Well, a picture that you will see all new at 5:30 sparked a lot of outrage. One father in North Tonawanda is not happy tonight over the lack of seats on district buses. News 4's Jen Shantz caught up with him and also spoke to the district. And disturbing body camera video shows the deadly end to a police chase in Louisiana last November when a 6-year-old boy was killed. And also a polar bear made out of plastic bags. Find out the story behind this event at UB. It happened today. That's all new at 5:30. Also, I don't want to spoil this. I know that you have the story coming up, Marissa. It is National Coffee Day, Drink Coffee Day. I know it's one of our favorite days, probably. I believe you have a Twitter poll, so looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're in this newsroom, you can't live without coffee. So it's a very important story for all of us here at News 4 today. All right, Nalina, thank you so much. Sure. All new at 4, an app across the pond is helping cut down on food waste. Every year, restaurants throw away millions of pounds of food. Riley Carlson tells us how people are buying the food before it heads to the trash.
2 salads over here, sweet corn salads.
At closing time in this London restaurant, there are always leftovers.
A bunch of lettuce, which we use for our skewers, that is all going to go to waste.
But owner Tarek Yaffe found a way to save the extra food while saving customers some cash.
I'm trying to fight food waste every day.
That's where the new app Too Good To Go comes in. Near the end of the day, restaurants post leftover meals online at a deep discount.
Really placing the value back onto food as something that should be eaten and not thrown away.
When customers come in here to order, they do have a choice. It might not always be the full menu, but what hasn't been sold yet on the day.
1 lamb. And what side?
These diners took away a skewer and a side for less than $4. That's more than 50% off.
I just saw it on social media. It looked quite interesting. I thought it was a great idea.
Customers can also donate an extra pound, about $1.30, through the app. That extra cash goes toward feeding those less fortunate.
It's about saving the planet. It's about helping fellow man. It's about just, being a better citizen.
Yaffe says more users will keep more food from being thrown out and will help boost profits a bit too. Riley Carlson for CBS News, London.
All right, very interesting idea there. Next on News 4 at 4, tragedy in the Old First Ward. OSHA is investigating a deadly crane accident. We have a live report with the latest. Plus this.
A man is dead after being hit by a truck along Niagara Falls Boulevard. The details ahead.
One of Western New York's largest selections of Alex and Ani, Vera Bradley, Lokai, and Camellia. Like us on Facebook for the latest design launches. Chameleon, endless possibilities in East Aurora, Orchard Park, Ellicottville, and the Walden Galleria.
Hey Buffalo, it's Billy Fusillo Sr. right here at Fusillo, the complex right here in Grand Island. And a lot of people over the last couple of months has asked us to come out with a great lease on 3 core automobiles, and we have. They wanted to be under $200. It's $199 a month. It's your choice. The beautiful Toyota Corolla, the beautiful redesigned Chevy Cruze, and of course the Hyundai Elantra. That's $199 a month, folks. A lot of you have kids going to college. Come in and see us right here in Grand Island, where everything is always huge.
Coming this week to American Freight, 2 rooms of furniture for only $498. 7-piece living rooms that include a sofa, love, coffee table, 2 end tables, and 2 designer lamps, plus a 5-piece dining group. All 12 pieces, only $498 complete. Mix and match and create your own custom package. Come to the loading docks this weekend only at American Freight, 778 Niagara Falls Boulevard. Phone 695-2500. That's 695-2500.
Q50 holding short runway 19 right. Q50, if you copy. 227, runway 19 right. Roger that. Q50, clear for takeoff. Clear for takeoff.
The 2016 Q50 from Infiniti. Lease the all-wheel drive Infiniti Q50 2-liter turbo for $319 a month, or finance at 0% APR at your local Infiniti retailer.
Chameleon Ladies Boutique carries the latest collections from Alex and Ani, Vera Bradley, Lokai, and Camellia, with locations in the Walden Galleria, East Aurora,
with your first look at the day's top stories and the forewarned forecast. This is News 4 at 4.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Gloomy weather conditions out there today. This is a live look at downtown Buffalo. Beautiful shot, but no sunshine in sight at all, Andrew.
Yeah, you're starting to see a few bright spots in the clouds, but I'd be hard-pressed to call it sunshine. Honestly, it's just been a dreary day, but that's absolutely what we need. We need the persistent, scattered showers to really soak into the ground and give the plants a good drink. So this is great news, and this pattern lasting right through the upcoming weekend. So keep the rain gear nearby, and after the summer we've had, we can't complain about a rainy pattern like that. That's for sure. Now, the good news is for the drive home, and perhaps if you're heading out to dinner, we will have extended dry time. 4 and Doppler radar are clearing up nicely for the past couple of hours. We still have a few showers moving north of the metro area and across the Niagara frontier right now, and just a couple pockets of spotty showers now making their way back into the southern tier. Notice that at the end of the loop down in southeastern Allegheny County and just south of Jamestown in Chautauqua County. But that's really all we're looking for the rest of this evening. Very spotty light rain showers. Temperatures have not been impressive at all. Upper 50s right now across the Niagara frontier, a few 60s here and there, but for the most part it's been pretty cool, and we've been feeling that because of the breeze, a steady one around 15 miles per hour out of the east, and that will continue tonight and into tomorrow. So a few scattered showers the rest of tonight, but for the most part we'll have a good deal of dry time if you're heading out to dinner. Maybe grab an umbrella and throw it in your car, but for the most part won't be needing it. More rain to talk about for the next few days. I'll tell you all about it, but I am tracking much better conditions next week, and that full 7-day forecast in a few minutes, Marissa.
Okay, Andrew, thank you. We're following breaking news out of South Buffalo. We want to update you now. One person is dead after a large crane came crashing down at a work site here. Now, this incident happened just this afternoon on Catherine Street. News 4's Nick Quattrini is live at the scene for us with the latest developments. Nick?
Marissa's information is still limited at this time, and it appears investigators are on scene now. And as you can see behind me, there is a police car blocking the entrance leading towards the scene. Now, at this point, what we do know is that one person died, but there's still no information regarding the victim's identity or the business involved. Officials say this accident happened around 1 this afternoon on Catherine Street when the victim was trapped under a crane after it failed. No further information was given. Now, there's no official word yet on the name of the business where this happened, but at the entrance leading to the scene where the police are blocking, the sign says Buffalo Industrial Diving Corporation, also known as BIDCO. OSHA was called to investigate the accident. And again, information is limited at this time, but we are working to learn more. Now, I also tried reaching out to BIDCO to see if they have any statements or any information regarding this accident, and I'm still waiting to hear back. For now, reporting live in South Buffalo, Nick Quattrini, News 4 at 4.
Nick, thank you. In our other top story at 4:30 today, at least one person is dead and hundreds of others injured after a crowded commuter train plowed into the Hoboken, New Jersey station just this morning. Now, cell phone video here shows the aftermath of the crash. You can see wires hanging from the ceiling here. This after the train slammed through a barrier into a wall at full force inside the rail station. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie says a woman was killed by debris while standing on the station platform, and 74 of the 100 others have been hospitalized. Witnesses describe the chaotic scene.
There were folks hobbling around, people holding their limbs, holding their backs and things like that. There were definitely some bad injuries.
Blood kind of like around their faces. People were kind of holding on to each other.
Now, the train operator did survive the crash and is fully cooperating with law enforcement tonight. Now, the cause of the crash still under investigation. A sad scene on the Niagara Falls Boulevard this morning. A 67-year-old man tried crossing the busy roadway and was hit by a car and killed. Now, this fatal accident comes just a month after another man was hit and killed while trying to cross that same busy road. News 4's Ali Ingersoll has the latest for us from the boulevard.
Police tell us a 67-year-old man has died after being hit by a truck. It happened here at this very busy intersection along Niagara Falls Boulevard. Police saying the man was trying to run across the street when he was struck by a pickup truck.
People need to be very aware when they're crossing a busy street like Niagara Falls Boulevard, especially in the dark and the early morning hours.
Police say it was around 6:40 Thursday morning when an Amherst man began running from 7-Eleven across Niagara Falls Boulevard. against traffic signals to try to catch a bus. Police say he was struck by this silver pickup truck, never making it across the traffic lanes.
Over the last couple of years, we've had several incidents at this exact spot.
It's real busy here.
Drivers say they frequently see pedestrians darting into traffic against walk signals.
They got to watch, they got to wait for the light to change, and people, they don't wait for the light, and they come across, and next thing you know, bango.
Getting busier too, I think. I think the traffic's getting worse. I'm scared. I give eye contact.
James Borton lives along Niagara Falls Boulevard. About a year and a half ago, he says he had a close call where he was crossing this very intersection, also on his way back across the street from 7-Eleven.
The light was in my favor. I made it to the 5th lane, and the 5th lane did not see me, and I had to run so fast that I was shaking.
And since that moment, this pedestrian has been wearing reflective gear, hoping he'll stand out enough so he won't have any more close encounters with cars.
Even though it's just a little white man, I could cross straight, but the car said that they've got the right of way. You just have to wait, be patient, don't try and beat the traffic.
Police echoing that today, saying it's as simple as pressing one of these crosswalk buttons. Police are saying there are no charges pending for the driver right now, saying he wasn't impaired and he is cooperating with them as this investigation is ongoing. Reporting from Niagara Falls Boulevard, Ellie Ingersoll, News 4.
Allie, thank you. We're also learning new information tonight about an officer-involved shooting in Niagara Falls. Police say this man, 33-year-old Stacy Lewis, was shot in the stomach last night during a drug raid at a home on 20th Street. Police say officers saw an assault weapon in Lewis's hands as they were coming into the home to execute a search warrant. Now, Officer Thomas Rogers fired one shot, and while the investigation is in the early stages, police say the officer acted appropriately.
If the suspect would have complied with the officer's request, we probably could have avoided this situation. Unfortunately, this is sometimes what we deal with in this type of work. We deal with combative subjects.
Now, Officer Rogers is on paid leave pending this investigation. Lewis is being interviewed by detectives tonight at ECMC. He's in stable condition and is facing drug and weapons charges. Meanwhile, the investigation into a deadly train accident in Chautauqua County is moving along today. Police in Dunkirk say a person has come forward to speak with police about what exactly happened here. This after authorities say a train hit and killed someone at Middle Road near Warsaw Street. Police say they're still trying to find the victim's family. No names have been released. We're hoping to learn more details this week. And this afternoon, we're learning more about the school shooting in South Carolina that injured 2 6-year-old students and a teacher. Police now say the shooter killed his father at home before attacking the school. Manuel Borquez is outside Townville Elementary School in South Carolina, about 100 miles northeast of Atlanta, with the very latest.
Dozens of law enforcement officers began swarming Townville Elementary School 7 minutes after receiving a call that there was a gunman on campus.
The shooter's going to be a white male, all black coat and posing in blonde hair.
2 6-year-old students were shot, one in the leg, the other in the foot. Jacob Hall was airlifted to the hospital. A female teacher was also struck in the shoulder.
There's no racial undertones there. There's no terrorism involved.
Police say the shooter, who was armed with a handgun, never entered the school. Volunteer firefighter Jamie Brock apprehended him and held him outside on the playground until police arrived.
And as y'all have heard, one of our firefighters did that, and probably saved a lot more lives.
Police say the gunman began his rampage by shooting his father, 47-year-old Jeffrey Osborne, at the family's home. At about 1:44 p.m., the shooter called his grandmother and was emotional. When the grandparents visited the home, they discovered their son's body and their grandson gone. He had already driven to Townville Elementary, about 3 miles away. Frantic parents were alerted by text to come to the school as students were evacuated.
And I saw her come out, and I just ran to her, crying. He just gave her a big hug. Just thankful.
6-year-old Jacob Hall remains in the hospital in critical condition. The other student and teacher who were injured in the shooting were released from the hospital last night. Investigators said there is no known relationship between those victims and the suspected shooter. Manuel Bojorquez, CBS News, Townville, South Carolina.
All right, thank you. And events like this are clearly terrifying to both parents and kids. You heard the emotion there. Parents, you might be wondering how to talk to your kids about what school shootings like this one. A family therapist has some advice on how to approach the topic. Dr. Roger Rhodes says don't overtalk it, don't give too many details, and don't sensationalize what happened. He said kids are most concerned with who is in control.
Keep it very simple. We're here. We're in control. Yes, this happened. It's a bad thing. The world has bad people, but in this household, we're good people, and this is how we do it.
Now, Dr. Rhodes says be calm and concise when you're speaking with your kids about this. Tonight at 6 and only on News 4, gang members in Buffalo are speaking out about life in the streets and the growing violence in the city. News 4's Rachel Monjovi joins us now. Rachel, you're going to give us a little preview of your story. I'm really excited to see this. What was it like speaking with those people and the issues that they're concerned about?
Well, Marissa, I talked to 3 gang members, and they really opened up to me about what it's like being in a gang, the circumstances in their lives at the time of why they joined a gang. A lot of gang members come from a broken home or even poverty, and they're looking for solid relationships with people. They're looking for friendship, loyalty, love, and most importantly, I mean, they're looking to get money.
Interesting. Okay, so what's the message that they're trying to spread through this sort of organization, I guess?
Well, 2 of the gang members I talked to actually joined when they were just 14 years old, and now they're 18 and 20 years old. They're starting to realize there's more productive things they can do with their lives. They're also fathers now. They recently had kids, and that's a lot of the reasons why gang members get out of gangs, because they have sons and daughters. They're also heavily involved in programs in the city that Pastor James Giles has actually helped get them involved in. And I do talk a little bit about that in my story tonight. He really deserves credit for getting a number of people off the streets, helping them get jobs, and really turn their life around.
Okay, so Rachel, I know this has been a busy summer, particularly for Buffalo Police. Did you talk to the people, these gang members, about the sort of summer of violence that we saw?
Yeah, I did. I talked to them about violence. Half of the homicides this year actually were gang related. So I do address that. That's what Buffalo Police told me, that half were gang related. So it's another important aspect that I thought we should really include in this story. We've reported on many shootings this past summer, including 2 incidents that involved an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old. But the gang members I spoke to, they're not sure if the gang violence will stop. A lot of them said the solution would be to get everyone together and have a ceasefire, and Pastor James Giles was also on board with that, but I don't think they've had the chance to actually do that yet. But I do address the ongoing violence across Buffalo.
Certainly a very important topic in our city. Rachel, thank you so much. So looking forward to your report.
Thank you.
Don't miss it, everyone. It's tonight at 6. It's called Gang Life, an Inside Look. Can't wait, Rachel. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, a lot to get to today at 4. Up next, asking an aging parent to give up driving can sometimes be a rough conversation. How and when to have the talk is next.
And if you've enjoyed that dreary weather we've had today, well, good news. We have a lot more on the way right through the weekend. Going to be dealing with on and off rain showers, but I do have some improvements to tell you about next week coming up in your 4 and forecast.
The Fox Run community is a great place to live, surrounded by friends who all share your passion of living life the way you choose to live. Live life to the fullest at Fox Run Orchard Park. Call today for more information.
The Toyota Tundra is built to last. It has been carefully crafted to stand the test of time with features as big and bold as the jobs you need to use it for. In fact, 90% of Tundras sold in the last 10 years are still on the road today. Rest assured, the Tundra is made for the long road ahead. Tested, trusted Toyota. Right now, lease a new Tundra for $389 a month or get 1.9% APR financing for 60 months. Find yours at buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Do you dream of smiling with confidence or eating your favorite foods? Have you been told you need dental implants to secure loose dentures or replace missing teeth? Well, we'd like to give you a second opinion. They're called mini dental implants. We use this minimally invasive microsurgery to quickly and easily replace your missing teeth or secure your loose, uncomfortable dentures. Now, compared to traditional dental implants, recovery time for the mini dental implant procedure can be quick, easy, and less invasive, often requiring only 1 visit. Yeah, and many dental implants can be a more affordable option. In fact, they can be half the cost of traditional implants. Plus, financing options are available. So, ditch the dentures and adhesive. Order whatever you want off the menu. I'll have the steak.
Me too, please.
Mini dental implants allow you to look and feel younger and make healthier eating choices. No more suffering from pain while eating or embarrassment while smiling. Call today to schedule a free mini dental implant evaluation.
When you live life at Fox Run, you live the life you want. Fox Run is surrounded by things you enjoy, both on and off campus. Whether it's church,
Welcome back, everyone. We have a lot more ahead for you on News 4 at 4. But first, let's check in with News 4's Jackie Walker to find out what's ahead at 5 and 6. Hi, Jackie.
Good afternoon to you, Marissa. Here are the stories we're working on for News 4 at 5 and 6 today. First at 5, a crane collapse in South Buffalo leaves one person dead. Our live coverage from the scene continues with the latest developments there. Plus, raising money for reptiles, how you can help the Buffalo Zoo complete its amphibian and reptile center. And at 6, gearing up for game day. The Bills are just 3 days away now from taking on the New England Patriots. Josh Reed has the latest from One Bills Drive. We have all that and much more coming up on News 4 at 5 and 6. Marissa?
Thanks so much, Jackie. Looking forward. Well, this is something you don't see every day, everyone. A woman in New Jersey had a strange run-in with the deer after she hit one. Take a look at this video here. Whoa! Moments after she hit the deer with her car, the deer came running back and hit her. Police dash cam caught the whole thing on camera. The officer and the woman say they've never seen anything like it before. Andrew, hopefully less deer will be on the roads as the weather starts to cool down. I also hope that they're okay.
Yeah, that's number one, obviously. I mean, if the deer is okay, then if everyone's okay, honestly, then it's kind of comical getting its revenge almost, you know?
Humorous.
Yeah, pretty incredible video there. What's not so incredible, look at that transition, our weather. It's been a dreary, gloomy day, right? And the good news is, this is great news for the drought situation. We definitely need a nice, steady, persistent, rainy weather pattern. And that's exactly what we're in. Good news is, for anyone heading home soon or perhaps hoping to go out to dinner tonight, we do have some dry time in store for this evening. Forward and up the radar clearing up nicely. We have most of that rain now off into Canada, moving from southeast to northwest. We do have a few pockets of light showers right now down in Allegheny County. Another area of rain moving towards Jamestown and Chautauqua Lake right now down in Chautauqua County. So that's about it. We'll just see these very spotty bands of light shower activity. The reason we're in this pattern is this storm system just to the west of us, and it's really just parking itself there, not going to move much for the next few days, and it will continue to spin waves of moisture into western New York. So we're going to be in this on-again, off-again shower pattern. And the cloud cover, the breeze, keeping those temperatures suppressed today. Right now in the low 50s around the metro area, the Niagara Frontier, some mid-50s for the folks in the southern tier. Few pockets of 60s, but not really feeling it too much with the clouds and that breeze, a persistent one around 15 miles per hour. We've been noticing that all afternoon. Now, temperatures tonight with the clouds in place actually not going to be dipping too low. We'll generally be staying in the mid-50s for the most part across western New York. Even some of those valleys only lower 50s. Tomorrow, sort of the same. Waking up to clouds and a few showers, temperatures largely staying in the low and even some mid-60s. So we'll be a little bit milder, just a few degrees than what we saw today, but not much in terms of improvements. Now, in terms of rainfall, we do have that continuing for the next few days. Tomorrow morning, waking up to cloudy skies and some showers on the radar that we'll be tracking for you tomorrow morning on Wake Up. Again, like today, we'll have some rain-free time getting into the afternoon and evening. Just a few spotty showers as we head into your Friday night and Saturday morning. Waking up once again to cloudy skies and a few scattered showers. Rain-free time. Notice that's the pattern here. Comes in waves. We do have some dry time, then some wet time, then some dry time, then some wet time. So just get used to that right through the weekend. Then we start to see some changes heading into Sunday and Monday. Scattered showers around tonight, but for the most part, they're going to be spotty in nature. Plenty of dry time if you're heading out this evening. Rather cloudy tomorrow with, again, off and on showers, breezy and cool. Temperatures largely in the low to mid 60s, and we'll have that east wind back, very similar to what we saw today. That pattern persists through Saturday into Sunday. We'll start to see that storm system, the one that we were talking about that's not moving much, finally start to move out of our area Sunday into Monday especially. So we'll see a few more showers around for the first half of Monday. Those clear out Monday night, and then we see increasing sunshine. Look at that. Light at the end of the tunnel. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, mostly sunny, and we're back into the 70s. So we got to get through the next few days. Then we have some very enjoyable weather. Marissa.
All right, looking forward to the end of the week then. All right, Andrew, thank you. In today's consumer headlines, the CEO of Wells Fargo was in the hot seat today, faced with intense grilling on Capitol Hill, of course, over the bank's shady sales practices. Lawmakers from both sides of the aisle ripped into John Stump about the scandal over unauthorized bank and credit card accounts. Now, bank employees opened as many as 2 million of those accounts in customers' names. Wells Fargo was facing $185 million in fines, and some lawmakers are now calling for Stump to resign. Scary images to show you now from a house fire in Ohio. And what started it? A Samsung smartphone. There have been several reported issues with the Note 7. Samsung, of course, issuing a massive recall after batteries started catching on fire. But this time it was a different Samsung phone, the S7 Edge, that caused this one. The homeowner left her phone charging to meet a friend. When she pulled back into her driveway, she says she saw smoke.
This phone, it was overheating from the beginning. I've only had it for 2 months.
Now, Samsung released a statement in part saying they plan to examine the device and investigate the circumstances surrounding this incident. Baby boomers are known for loving cars, a generation raised with hot rods, drive-in theaters, and curbside service. But by 2030, 1 in 4 drivers will be over the age of 65. And with those golden years comes some health issues that can affect safe driving. Leslie Lacey reports.
Asking an aging parent to give up the independence of driving can be a rough conversation. Joe Sullins knows all about it.
We had to do that with my mother.
How did that go?
Oh, she was not real happy about it, but she realized her limitations.
The National Highway Transportation and Safety Administration reports that medical conditions associated with elderly drivers can cause unsafe driving by restricting movement, vision, and decision-making. Tom Hirsch counsels people on how and when to have the talk.
You have to approach this conversation with love and empathy.
Hirsch adds it's not always a black and white situation.
Dementia, or even a diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease, does not necessarily mean that a driver has to give up the keys. But it's a warning sign.
There are also plenty of tests online specifically designed for aging drivers. Hirsch says first lay the groundwork with small conversations. Imagine if the tables were turned on you.
I would have no problem with it.
How would you want them to approach you?
Oh, well, they would just, I can tell you what they would do. They would come in, they'd say, Mom, you need to give me your keys.
You'd be okay with that?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And keep in mind your mom or dad may just need to modify their vehicle to help with medical conditions like arthritis.
All right, very interesting story there. Next on News 4, a new program hits the Niagara Falls City School District this year. Learn how it's helping kids with developmental disabilities. Plus, coffee lovers, this next story is for you. We'll tell you where you can get a free cup of Joe on National Coffee Day.
Head over heels, where should I go? Can't stop myself, out of control. Head over heels, no time to think. Looks like the whole world's out of sync.
So you like it?
I do.
Now is the moment to get the Honda CR-V you love, the best-selling SUV in America, at the Honda Summer Clearance Event, going on now.
I know you.
Welcome.
Hi, we're your neighbors. We live across the street.
Oh, thanks for this. See, you got Time Warner Cable like the rest of the hood. Genius.
Yeah, they offer tons of free HD channels.
And you can record 6 shows at the same time. And with the super fast internet, entertainment nirvana.
Wow, nirvana.
Switch to Time Warner Cable. For $89.99 per month, you'll get free HD channels, 30 meg internet with no data cap, and unlimited calling. Call 1-844-303-3178.
Looks like you're all hooked up. Game's about to start. Let's do it.
We're watching here.
Oh, yeah.
How about you
you and I go watch my favorite show.
Switching is easy. You'll get our exclusive 1-hour arrival window, a money-back guarantee, and there's no contract to sign.
Oh, you got the TWC phone. It's unlimited calling to like half the world, including Mexico, Canada, India, European Union. Yeah? This will work as a coffee chain.
It says fragile. Get TV, internet, and phone for $89.99 per month, plus free installation, TV equipment, and Epics included. Call now.
There's no leaving the house today.
Before you cleared the way when others couldn't, before you chose award-winning innovation to take on winter's worst, you started with the Cub Cadet X series of snow throwers, right here at your local dealer. Home of expert advice, superior service, and exceptional offers. Welcome to Strongsville. To find a locally owned Cub Cadet dealer near you, visit CubCadetDealers.com.
Are you looking for a Toyota? Well, there's only one place to look. That's Facillo Toyota right here in Grand Island. It's Billy Facillo Sr., and I'm here to tell you folks, you're not going to get a better deal anywhere. You're not going to buy a Toyota cheaper anywhere. And guess what? Our service department's open 7 days. Selling 38,000 cars last year at Buffalo, 38,000 our company sold. Regardless of if there's any profit at all, we take the deal. That's what it's all about. Facillo Toyota in Grand Island. Come and see us. Your experience will be huge.
Life on the streets can be a dangerous road to take.
I've been shot 2 times.
Local gang members are sharing their stories about life inside.
The streets don't love me.
Why they felt they had no other options, and why others shouldn't make the same mistake. News 4, tonight at 6.
This Friday.
What are you doing?
One agent doesn't sweat the big stuff.
Improvising.
It's the little things.
Mac, got a new problem.
That keep this team alive.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is National Coffee Day, my favorite holiday. Now, where this holiday started is unclear, but it is a hit nationwide. Some Krispy Kreme locations are joining in on the fun. Today, you can get a free glazed donut and a 12-ounce cup of coffee free. Dunkin' Donuts is, too, selling medium-sized coffee for just 66 cents as a nod to its 66th anniversary. The International Coffee Association reports that Finland is actually #1 in the world for coffee consumption. We just rank at 25th. We want to know how you order your caffeinated beverage on National Coffee Day. 30% of you say you take your coffee black. 47%, though, say they add milk, cream, or sugar. And 23% say they like one of those specialty coffees like a latte. You can join in on the poll. Tweet us at News4Buffalo. In Niagara Falls today, a new program at the Cataract Elementary School caters to students with developmental delays. News 4's Angela Cristoforos explains how these special classrooms make a big difference for students there. Angela?
Marissa, it's a brand new program at Cataract Elementary School that was just put into place this past year. The classrooms are able to offer more things than a traditional classroom, including a lot of one-on-one attention and a focus on the specific needs of every child.
In Mrs. Bardo's classroom, there's a special emphasis on the speech and language needs of all the learners.
Working with students with communication needs, speech and language delays, daily living skills, and some are on the autism spectrum.
It's one of 2 classrooms at Cataract Elementary that provides extra attention and individualized behavior plans for each student with special needs.
A typical day is based on rotations, so we group the students based on need. Usually there's 3 to 4 students in a group, and they will rotate between myself and the 2 associates throughout the day.
In class, teachers work on student behavior through positive reinforcement.
When a child is having an issue or in crisis, we have rooms to go to. We have a calm down area with sensory toys and things to play with to calm them down and bring them back.
Teachers cater to 20 different students and a variety of needs.
The most significant difference is that each one of these children are taught based on what they need. So no 2 students are doing the same thing. Every child is getting what that child needs.
Special education teachers at the Cataract School also say that there's a lot of contact with parents. They write notes to them about their students' progress on a daily basis. Live in the studio, Angela Cristoforos, News 4 at 4.
What a great outlet for both students and parents. Angela, thank you. And thank you for watching News 4 at 4. News 4 at 5 starts right now.